glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. We have a lot of cool, interesting stuff to talk about, Horse, because it seems like the 49ers offseason is never quiet.
NFL has no.
That's true.
The NFL draft gets better ratings than the NBA Finals. Let's be honest.
Well, it should.
More exciting.
It is more exciting.
It's definitely not rigged either.
Yeah.
Debatable, but
I mean,
less
listen,
rigged.
less rigged for sure, definitely. But before we get into today's live stream, before we get started with everything else, hit that like button if you haven't already. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. That way you're joining this Cutback community. You're ready to go for everything we got coming, because we got a lot of stuff coming up. We got today's stuff. You got great content today. We got Q&A at the end of this, so you want to stick around as much as you can. If you got to tune out, that's fine. Make sure you tune back in. We got a live Q&A at the end. But we also got stuff coming up like a schedule release show on Wednesday next week. We got great videos coming up all next week. And the best way for you to be here for all of that is to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. That way, as soon as those go live, as soon as we post everything, you know about it. You're ready to go. You're informed.
But did you say a Q and A?
Yeah.
Oh, and A.
Not just a Q.
Not just the Q.
Yeah. And, the fact that we hit 3 live streams over the weekend for the draft, next week we're hitting 2 live streams. Again, people ask for it. We deliver. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. The schedule release is going to be a lot of fun. But let's get into some of this news that's been going on, Alex. What is first on the docket?
First on the docket, folks. This is exciting. It's interesting, right? This is good stuff. This is the kind of stuff you want to hear about as a 49ers fan, especially after the draft pick of Ambry Thomas. They're now in contract talks, preliminary, we'll preface that, with Richard Sherman to bring him back into San Francisco, a guy that Ambry Thomas was super excited to potentially work with. He wanted to learn from him. The Niners have brought him in. Richard Sherman says it's looking like things may be able to get done. Ant, how do you feel about this? What do you think it's going to cost?
Well, first off, of course, the rumors are coming off that they're having preliminary talks. And unless Richard Sherman is the one putting this information out, then it's not true, because we're getting no leaks from the 49ers. But I would guess Richard Sherman would gladly put this information out there. Richard Sherman's going around saying he would play for the Hawks, he would play for the Niners, because he is his own agent and he's trying to market himself to get a good contract, which is understandable. But I think that really when it comes down to it, the question is, as 49er people, do we really want Richard Sherman back? I think I had come to the belief and understanding that I was ready to move on. And the reason I was ready to move on is the fact that I don't believe he can run the man coverage like we need, the scheme that we've been going to. He's not able to perform at the level of Jason Verrett. But I sometimes second guess it because I look at his stats and he had, some very nice stats. So I'm wondering if I'm letting the end of the season, Horst, get me down because I know he checked out and he basically made a business decision and basically opted out by just, not playing the end of the season. Is that what's going on? Do you think that's skewing what I'm thinking? Or is it really time to move on from him and let's get someone that's more versatile that can play man coverage?
I don't think it's helping because, he clearly was not. I know he was banged up, but he clearly was not playing with his best effort the last couple games he played. And then he came out hurt, missed the last, 3 games?
Yeah.
When a lot of people felt like he might not have actually been hurt. I don't know, I'm not there, but that's sure the feeling I had. But I think we are letting that jade us a little bit because going into a season with Verrett and Mosley as the only quality outside corners on the roster, first of all, you're paper thin. Second of all, I like Emmanuel Mosley, but man, when you can have someone like Richard Sherman back there, especially with the 2 young guys, Ambry Thomas and Diamador Lenore.
Yeah.
I think he's such a great influence on players like that, on young guys. And I think he's such a big part of the defense away from the field, learning film room and then getting them in the right place when they are on the field, practice. And I think losing Saleh, you might want to have him back with, a young defensive coordinator. I still think the pluses outweigh the minuses when it comes to Richard Sherman. I do agree he does hamstring you a little bit in what coverages you can run. He does not move like he used to. It's very clear. But I think a motivated Richard Sherman is still a starting NFL corner.
I think that's fair. I think that's very fair. I think at the end of the day, too, what this is going to come down to is sort of what the 49ers feel they can get bang for buck wise with him, right? Because he's not going to be super cheap. He's not going to be stupid cheap. He's not going to be someone that you can't, sign for a little bit of money. It's going to cost you something to bring in a guy like Richard Sherman. But what you're paying for in terms of now with him isn't necessarily so much the production value as it is the intelligence, the IQ, what he can impart wisdom-wise and just preparation-wise on your cornerback room itself and your defense as a whole. Because let's be honest, the guy is very, very good at understanding team tendencies, offensive coordinator tendencies, and things of that nature. So he can add that to your locker room. He can add that to your young linebacking core. It doesn't have to fall now on a guy like Fred Warner to have all of the answers right away, right? Like Richard Sherman can have some of those answers and come up with some of those answers and help impart wisdom on the entirety of that defense, not just your cornerback room. So it really just depends on who, like how much is it going to cost, and then what his role is.
Mm-hmm.
Is he on the field for 90% of snaps? That's a concern for me a little bit.
He has to be. He's Richard Sherman.
But is he willing to accept the Uncle Sherman mold?
See, that's one of the negatives that we were talking about, though.
Yeah.
Is if you, not necessarily negative if he plays well.
Correct.
But if he looks clearly slowed, is that Richard Sherman's not going to sit on the bench.
No.
Probably not.
Without making a scene.
He's going to play, so that means Emmanuel Mosley's the backup again.
Unless he's aware of the fact that there's no market and no one is really willing to bring him in to be the guy, and so he's willing to stay in San Francisco, act still like the guy, but maybe know that he's not going to have the guy role. It doesn't sound or seem like Richard Sherman, but this is what I'm talking about. Could we be seeing the evolution of Richard Sherman before our very eyes right now? If he's not going to be on the field as a corner, does he move back into a safety role? Is he flexible and moving around in that sense of that nature? You guys are saying no. I'm saying Richard Sherman is a smart enough person.
He is.
He's a smart enough person to want to prolong his career as long as possible.
He's a smart enough person to realize that if he does that and people realize that he is done, he's not going to have another chance to get in a contract. So he wants to go somewhere where he can play, number one. But I think another thing that we're forgetting to look at is the 49ers must have missed on the corner that they really wanted. Because if not, they would have taken care of this and already got Richard Sherman. Now they're coming back to the board to get him. So maybe that's what it is. They missed on the guy. Richard Sherman was waiting it out. Are the Seahawks or the 49ers going to get the guy that they need, or am I going to now be in play? And obviously, he's in play.
Well, he clearly was a second option for how long it took.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
For this to even get rumored. But I still think when you look at the end of the day that they're a better corner room with Sherman in it than without it. He's not my ideal guy.
Right.
I'm not sitting here like that's an A+ move. Hell yeah, we got Sherman back. But I think it just scares me to go into the season with Verrett and Mosley as the main two starting caliber corners.
See, that doesn't scare me. What scares me is one of them getting hurt and us having to go with the young guy.
That's what I'm saying, just two.
I think the bad thing is I think that we're actually hurting ourselves as far as scheme if Richard Sherman is a starting corner.
True.
Because he's going to be pigeonholed in that cover 3. We saw what happens when you get him in man coverage and he gets an open space. All you have to do is clear it out. So does that mean the 49ers then have to give him help with a safety? And if you're giving him help with the safety or you're worried about one of these guys running right past him, then all of a sudden now your defense is covering and your defense is changing. You're not able to be as aggressive as you would like to be. Are you counting on that front, that defensive front that's going to be fantastic, that defensive line? Are you counting on them getting there so Richard Sherman's intelligence and all that outweighs? If you think they're going to get home consistently all the time, then Sherman's perfect because he'll step in front of passes and make plays. But if you think at any point the secondary is going to have to play better, then we need to make a change. Because let's not forget, the secondary played really good without him last year.
True.
They did,
But
yeah.
it was Akello out there.
It was Mosley as well.
It was.
Mosley had good games. Do you think, think about it, Horse, if they were really that high on Akello Witherspoon and thought he was better than Mosley, then it would be Akello Witherspoon back.
Correct.
Well, Akello I don't think he ever improved.
No, he did. It's his confidence.
It was up and down, right? I think he got better. I think he did improve because, look at the end of the year last year, right? Like, he looked pretty gosh darn fantastic out there, especially end of the year against DK Metcalf, that game against Seattle. He looked phenomenal. Yeah. The problem is that you just don't know what version of Akello Witherspoon is showing up. Akello Witherspoon is in his own way half the time. It's just one of those things. JLA had asked a good question. He said, what other cornerback free agents are out there right now? The top of the names at the list are Steven Nelson, Bobby McClain, DJ Hayden, Josh Norman, Brian Poole, Buster Skearns, never heard of him, Michael Davis, Dashad Breeland, Garyon Conley, Nickel Roby-Coleman is still out there, Horse.
He's a slot guy.
He's a nickel guy, yeah.
More of a nickel guy. Drake Kirkpatrick. And that's really about it.
I don't want him now that we have K1 back.
Correct.
Also, and we just drafted someone, Diamador Lenore, to be his understudy.
It's accurate. It's accurate.
So, as far as that goes, no. You know what I mean? That it is. It's. I think at the cornerback position, it's Richard Sherman, or it's roll with the young guys.
I think that's what you're left with, right?
Yeah.
At this point, and I think the point you brought up a little earlier about missing on a guy in the draft, I think that's accurate. I think we all think now they were targeting a few guys. Probably Paulson Adebo was the main target, and it just didn't work out at all. They did not get the thing they wanted. They weren't able to get the guy they wanted where they wanted him. And so now you're left in a situation where you're just trying to plug the hole that still semi-exists, right? It's not like a gaping hole. It's not a huge problem, but it's there.
Yeah.
It's something they need to address. They need to add depth.
Do you think this is inevitable now that Jimmy Ward kind of put it out on IG that Richard Sherman could be coming back? Do you guys think this is just inevitable that him and the 49ers work it out?
I started having that feeling whenever it was that weekend of the draft when Sherman said that on the radio show, about it being open and they've talked, and I was like, and that coinciding with, Lynch was pretty transparent. They missed on Paulson Adebo.
He was, yeah.
I will give him that. He was pretty transparent. So those two things combined, I started figuring that this was coming.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Ambry Thomas is more a developmental guy than Paulson Adebo. I think Adebo would have pushed this year to start, and I think that's the big part and the big difference and why they need to go after Richard Sherman. My only question, too, to that, Horst and Alex, is do you guys believe that the 49ers, if Richard Sherman is not one of the top 5 corners on the team, would have the guts to cut him coming out of training camp? Would they look Richard Sherman in the eye and say, you know what, you're just not good enough to make this roster?
I think Shanahan would.
You think Shanahan would? What about the money, though, the guaranteed money that they would have to get him? Would they be okay not giving it, being able to eat that salary and not being able to roll it over?
I think that's the hardest thing about this signing is this is really a boom or bust situation with Richard, because if you get even 2019 Richard Sherman,
yeah,
I'm happy. If you don't, we're looking at a possible training camp or mid-season cut.
Mm-hmm.
And with a guy like Richard Sherman, it's going to be ugly.
It's not going to be pretty, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't see how that would be a productive thing for the locker room.
I would say there's about a 40, not that high, 30% chance of it ending ugly if they sign him.
Listen, if they sign him, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I would probably lean more to 50-50, but that's a fair number. You would imagine that they pull the trigger on this and they sign him and they bring him back. That it's
it's going to happen.
It's because both sides are in agreement on conditions, right? Of what his play is going to be, what he's going to need to do to be on the field, how often he'd be on the field. Like, all of those things would have to align. And Luigi just said, league minimum. it's going to probably be closer to that than it would anything else.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think it's going to be a league minimum because he's going to look at the fact that how much Emmanuel Mosley's getting, and he's going to want very similar money, at least to what Emmanuel Mosley and Jason Verrett are getting. You're talking $4 or $5 million.
It's true.
Because it's still Richard Sherman. You're paying for the name brand. It doesn't matter if those Nikes don't look good. They say Nike on them, and that's what you're paying for, and that's how it is with Sherman. You're still getting the same thing. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter how much tread is left on the tire. It still says Michelin, right, Horse?
Yeah,
and you're paying for
agree.
it. And I think that, the question is, do the 49ers do it? I think ultimately they're going to do it because they're a little nervous about the depth in that cornerback room. And then the question after that is, do they have to change up their entire defensive game plan that they were obviously looking to work on by playing a lot more man coverage, especially on third down, with Richard Sherman in? Could Horse they actually change and pull Richard Sherman off the field on third downs, or put him in a different position where maybe he's playing a different type of safety role and more of a three safety look? Because that'd be kind of scary, right? To have him out there one-on-one on third downs. Like I said, unless the front can get there.
That's what I would hope he would accept in those situations, being the third safety.
Yeah.
Being on first and second down, playing his normal corner spot and then switching.
Yeah.
I would hope. I'm not, and that's one of the I like Richard Sherman, but that's one of the negatives with a guy like him. The thing that makes him so great, which is his arrogance, is also a downfall.
Yeah.
Always has been, too. It's always been the knock on him, right? Is he can, at times he has almost too much confidence and faith and belief in himself that he's going to get it done, but he just cannot see sometimes when the writing is on the wall or when he's not that guy anymore. But that kind of self-belief is how a fifth-round pick that only played 1 year of corner in college turns into Richard Sherman. So it's been a blessing and a curse for him. Absolutely. It's part of the reason why he's had the chip on his shoulder for as long as he has as well.
Yeah. So, the question is, do the 49ers strike on Richard Sherman now, or do they wait and see if somebody gets cut during training camp or something like that, and then bring someone in late? Or do they just go for it and be like, you know what, Richard Sherman's better than the other options we have?
Are you asking what I think they're going to do or what I would do?
No, I say we ask what we think they're going to do. I think that's what people want to know.
I think they're going to sign him.
Yeah, I do too.
Chat, the poll, there is a poll up right now too as well.
When's the next mini camp?
Mini camp is in June.
Yep. I wouldn't be shocked if he signed before then.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't sign in the next week or so.
Because they probably want to get him working with
Aubrey Thomas,
Lenore and Thomas.
Yep, I would imagine they want that. Chat, there is a poll live right now. You can vote on this. We're gonna leave it up for a little bit. Let you guys think about it. Let it stew a little bit in the head, and then cast a vote if you'd like. ! Vote, and then either yes or no on should the 49ers bring back Richard Sherman, or whether or not you think the 49ers are going to be bringing back Richard Sherman. Make that vote. Cast it now, because we're going to move on.
Yeah.
We're going to move on from Richard Sherman. Dedicated a nice chunk of time there to Uncle Sherm. That's because we love you. We do love you, Uncle Sherm, but we just don't know if it's the right fit.
We did mix in some of the second topic with that.
A little bit, right? We talked about it a little bit, because at the end of the day, the 49ers had quite an interesting draft strategy, guys.
They did.
And we want to break this down a little bit to you, talk with you over it, especially chat, and get your opinion on it as well. Look, Niners, I don't think they were as aggressive as we wanted them to be. But they had a plan. They had guys they wanted to go target. They made moves up to go get guys that they wanted to target. And what else do you feel that there are some draft things specifically that the 49ers did that you liked?
Well, one thing I liked is, first off, they went and got their quarterback that they knew was going to be the future of the franchise and the future of the team. And they didn't, let anything deter them from going up and getting their guy. I think that's number one. And then after that, I think the trade back in the second round was perfect. Get the draft capital that you need to be able to move around and get the guys that you want to get. But then they didn't execute to get the guy that you want to get. The one thing that was clear from the press conferences, though, was that they were going to get guys who aren't hurt. Guys who haven't had a history of, being injured. And that's what they're doing. They're making sure they didn't get any guys that have that history and guys that can stay healthy, and they're making sure they don't get burned by the injury bug. Last year really kind of skewed their beliefs on that. So they had that going. And then I think at the end of the draft, I think we'd all agree that they just basically went best available player. Jalen Moore was on their board, best available player. Diamolador, best available player. Talanoa Hufanga, best available player. And they just continue to do that all the way through, no matter what position, and it happened to work out for them. But that's why they doubled up on linemen and doubled up on running backs, because they got best available in the 5th, 6th round.
Yeah, that's what I like too, is that they're from listening to him talk. They wanted those 4 high picks, and they wanted it to be Trey Lance, Walker Little, Paulson Adebo, and Trey Sermon.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, they did not get the middle 2 guys.
Yeah.
But they were able to get Aaron Banks, who I do believe that they were high on, but I think they had him below Walker
100%
Little.
agree.
I believe him that they were very high on him. Aaron Banks isn't a bad second choice. But I think I know we're supposed to be only talking about what we liked, but man, I know you guys also think this, but that losing Paulson Adebo hurts. But I do think they were covered nicely in day 3, because Jalen Moore is a physical freak. The more you watch video of him.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here saying he's going to figure it out, but what I'm saying is if he does figure it out, the techniques and the stuff he needs to learn, he's got like Pro Bowl, All-Pro potential athletically for his size.
Right.
So I love that pick. You know I love Talanoa Hufanga. You're not going to get me to say nothing bad about that pick. I was trying to temper myself. I did not think they were going to end up with him. But I'm really happy they did. And then Elijah Mitchell, I mean, if you guys have not watched his highlight tape yet, that dude is a big play waiting to happen. I'm really excited to see the running back room, because I think that's a serious iron sharpening iron situation in their running back room.
That's a straight battle royal.
You're talking, they have 6 guys, and I'm not counting Juice, I'm talking tailback.
Yep.
6 guys that will be on NFL rosters.
Agreed.
This year.
Agreed.
Whether
And
it's San
probably
Francisco or somewhere else.
And probably playing.
Yeah. No, 100%.
So they have that many guys. And Austin Walter, it's not like he looked terrible in the little bit he played.
And he's good on special
And
teams.
he's a good kick returner. Yeah, I mean, so maybe 7 that are going to be on rosters.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a interesting draft strategy, right? I liked them staying away from guys that have injury history, because part of the idea is you want to add depth in guys who are going to be healthy and on the field. So you want to avoid guys with injury history, or major injury history anyway, because you want them to be available in case something happens to your guys on your roster and you fall into the same situation you fell into last year, which every 49ers fan is praying to every football god that is known to make sure that doesn't happen and doesn't continue, right? And then, like you said, attacking best available player. They didn't feel they had any needs. They also didn't want to necessarily give up a lot in order to come get guys, because it seems like they wanted to draft the number of players that they drafted. They were around that number, right around there, maybe one less guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't like the lack of aggression to go get the guys on your board, right? The trade back to try and grab Walker Little a little later and add the capital you need to come get Paulson Adebo is great until you miss on both. Right. If you just miss on Walker Little, if that's the only guy you missed on, and you just come up a little earlier to ensure that you grab Paulson Adebo, fine, is what it is. But the fact that you missed on both of them, to me, it still sours this draft a little bit. It gives it a bad taste in its mouth. Because while I like the draft, and if you saw our draft grade episodes, everyone here in this room gave them at least a B, if not a B minus. We were all B draft guys, but it could have been an A. Like, it could have been a home run draft day, and it doesn't feel like a home run draft day. It feels like we shored up the quarterback position. You have your guy behind Jimmy in case something happens. You went out and got an offensive lineman early to shore up your O-line. You took the running back you liked. You got some corner depth. You just added depth. You didn't hit a home run anywhere. Now, granted, I do think a guy like Diamador Lenore and even a guy like Talanoa Hufanga could end up being big, huge draft picks and huge guys for the 49ers in 2 to 3 years. But that's 2 to 3 years from now.
Yeah.
That's 2 to 3 years from now when, you're re-signing your big-name players. You're going to have to rely on some of your young talent. They're not going to be home runs right now. They're home runs, 3 years from now, 3 seasons from now, potentially. You're hoping anyway.
Right.
So it's just one of those things where it's just one of those drafts where we were hoping, I think all of us wanted a little more impact early and just just missed it, man.
Yeah, I think so. Go ahead, Horst.
I was going to say one thing about what you said there with the Walker Little thing. I'm curious how closely they had Banks and Walker Little rated. I mean, obviously, we're never going to know that. But I'm curious if when they made that trade, they clearly, once again, they were planning on going and getting a Devo. He said it. Yeah. So, but I'm curious if they made that trade thinking, you know what, we'll take Banks instead of Walker Little if we can get our hands on a Devo.
Yeah.
I'm curious if they made that move expecting that to happen.
Well, he said they had 5 guys on the board at 43, and they went back to 48. So you have to think Banks was one of those guys, and probably Asante Samuel Jr. and Walker Little. Mm-hmm. They were probably some of those 5 guys. So Banks was probably more in the middle of the road because I don't think all 5 guys went, or 4 of the guys went off the board and they got Banks.
Fair.
I think with Paulson and Debo, what really comes down to it is the fact that it makes us a little more irritated is the way that John Lynch described it. Is you had the guys in the first round, mm-hmm. and then you had Paulson and Debo. Yep. So you had all those guys, and that he was valued that high in their book, that he was the next best guy, not Asante Samuel Jr., but him. And I think that is the part that is the most frustrating because just be aggressive. If you think he's going to go 75 or after, go get him.
Go get him at 70.
Yeah, don't let anyone get him. Be more aggressive. I think that's the only thing. They were a little, too cautious, making sure they didn't want to give up too much draft capital because I do think they wanted to strike in the 5th round. I mean, the way that they looked, they got guys strategically, and they've had a lot of success in the 5th round. I mean, and we're talking about these guys might not, produce for a few years, but let's not forget Greenlaw and Kittle right off the bat came in and played very well. So that they have a specific role for these guys. And I guarantee you, somebody like Hufanga, they can find a role, especially in nickel situations. And this guy can go cause problems, especially against certain teams. Look for him to be blitzing, doing all kinds of stuff in the box. This guy is going to cause issues. If D'Amico Ryans is creative and comes up with good game plans with using this guy, he could be a huge asset for the 49ers. I wouldn't be shocked to see him on the field more than a lot of the other guys right off the bat. And I do wish they would have got Adebo, but I will say this. Embry Thomas in 2 years can be the potential that Paulson Adebo is right now.
Yeah.
So he can develop. He's physical, and he can play on the outside, which we need. He could always come in and shock us, too, and be more ready because we don't know what he's done for the last year.
Accurate.
If he would have played in 2020, we might be looking at him and thinking, you know what? That guy is the same level as Paulson Adebo. We don't know. So there is that factor with it. But I am glad they went and got a corner when they did because after Embry Thomas, it was a little bit of a slip and a little bit of a fall to everybody else.
That's fair. Luis, we'll get there.
We'll get there. We have that on the docket.
That is on the docket today to discuss. Up next, though, we're not going to get to the Trey Lance stuff just yet. We want to save it for the end, my guys, because it's important that we talk about that. We got a little lighter segment here. Some potential jersey number changes, or basically official jersey number changes, because some of them have already announced it. You have Jason Verrett making the switch from number 22 to 2. You have Jaquiski Tartt going from 29 to 26. Jimmy Ward rumoring a change from 20 to number 1. And we're going to see how Debo Samuel feels about that.
Yeah.
And then officially, Emmanuel Mosley making the switch from 41 to 4.
That's official?
It's apparently official.
At least official as far as the players are saying.
They're saying for sure it's happening. So, guys, how you feeling about the number changes? Do you own any of these jerseys? Does this impact your jersey collections in any way?
It doesn't impact my jersey collections at all. Fred Warner is still 54, thank goodness.
Thank
Juice
God.
is still 44. George Kittle is still 85. And Frank Gore is always going to be Frank Gore. So I'm good with having that jersey. But the one thing I will say is this is a little interesting, and I feel bad for people that have jerseys and own them jerseys. You know, you got Jimmy Ward, who's went from 25 to 20 to 1. I don't know very many Jimmy Ward jersey owners. But if you do, it's going to be, something that irritates you, I'm sure. The one thing I will say is I do like the low numbers. As somebody that likes high school and college football, seeing 1, 2, 3, 4 on the field has always been something fun for me. Seeing Charles Woodson and those guys back in the day, wearing the low numbers, it's always kind of cool. Dion could have been number 2 if these rules would have been going. Reggie Bush could have been number 5 like he should have been.
That would have been nice.
Those things are exciting, but I do understand the frustration. It is going to be weird I'm going to be wondering why, why is Tevin Coleman playing safety this year? That's going to be weird for me. I'm going to be wondering why, our punter is, our old punter is now playing corner because Emmanuel Mosley's out there. So those things will get used.
Mullins.
Yeah, Nick Mullins will be over there playing corner. So that'll be interesting to see, how we adjust to seeing that.
What an upgrade, by the way.
At corner?
Nick Mullins at corner,
Nick Mullins at corner. What an upgrade.
Yeah.
Horace, man, how you feel about this?
I mean, I'm going to be honest, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter.
It matters, Horst.
But if that's what I've kind of always been a fan of the fact that the NFL is different. Like, yeah, you can wear whatever you want in college, but this is the pros, you got to wear this. Yeah. But at the same time, if it makes players happy, I don't care. Yeah. I'm not some old curmudgeon like Tom Brady, apparently. It's, they should wear this. If Jason Verrett's happy wearing number 2, then Jason Verrett should be able to wear number 2. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to. I don't know why they didn't do this years ago. You have to report when you're an eligible lineman, anyways. Mm-hmm. So it's not like the number really matters.
Well, and they're going to run out of numbers, right? They keep retiring jerseys. I know the 49ers are going to stop taking numbers out of circulation. Because you're going to run out of numbers. We don't want to have 101 out there playing corner this year.
No, that'd be bad.
Javon Kinlaw is 102,
By the way, I agree. I don't think my Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Frank Gore, or Patrick Willis, I don't think any of those jerseys are changing numbers.
No.
So I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I don't think so. And I think Fred Warner at 54 is eventually going to be a number that goes in the Ring of Honor if he stays with the Niners.
And it should. And 100% should. It doesn't affect me too much either. I mean, the only one that's concerning for me right now is the Debo one, obviously, because I have a nice, Debo fancy, schmancy Debo Samuel jersey. So Debo, just remain 19 problems, my guy. Don't give me a problem.
Well, did you hear that you have to buy out the NFL's collection of your jerseys? That's why you're not seeing that many huge name guys do it yet.
Yeah, it's a lot of guys who don't have huge jerseys.
Because I know, like Derrick Henry. When it was thinking about switching to 2, what he wore at Bama, and the number, I mean, to him it's not, but it was an astronomical number that you'd have to buy out because Derrick Henry is one of the biggest jerseys in the league.
Yep.
So it was 6 figures.
Yeah.
That he was going to have to pay.
It would make a normal person cry, and it would make Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry's going to feel 6 figures.
Yeah, he's going to feel 6 figures, but he's going to feel it like in the sense of like, his wallet feels a little lighter. Whereas a normal folk is going to be like,
it was enough.
There's next 3 years of my life.
Anything about him changing the number now?
Also true. I
mean, the other thing we got to remember is Trey Sermon is going to be 22.
He is going to be 22
and
now. Trey
Lance is going to be 5. So those numbers have at least become official. So that's cool.
Is Sermon 22?
He's going to be 22. That's how we know Verrett. When Verrett went to 2, all of a sudden Sermon came out on his Instagram and said he's going to be 22.
There you go.
So he hopped on that pretty quick, which is nice. The one thing that still bugs me, Horst, is the fact that Jalen Hurd has never played a regular season game, and his number keeps changing.
What's he wearing now?
Oh, he's 14. But, I mean, he's been 17. He's been 14. Other people have been 14 on the roster.
It's true.
Mohamed Sanu, I think, was he 14 last year? So it's really bugging me. We need Jalen Hurd to have a solid number because he needs to play this year.
Accurate.
And I'm not sure if 14 gets it done for me.
Well, the 17 to 14 thing was because of Sanders.
Right? It was because of Sanders.
I understand that. He gave it up to
But then this year he didn't go back to it. Jawan Jennings had 17.
It's true.
Maybe Jennings wanted it more than
or,
after he got hurt, he was like, who cares?
Yeah, maybe.
I have a feeling that he's kind of one of those I don't give a care about my jersey. I was going to say something else, but...
Hey, good censor there.
Poo, he doesn't care.
Papooed it.
Yeah.
He papooed it.
He doesn't give a Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Hey, now, my
that
guy.
was unlimited.
Oh, hey, whoa.
It's unlimited.
Yeah.
This podcast is unlimited. It is true.
Our first guest.
I know. Our very first one, by the way. If you haven't watched that video, you should go check that out.
Yeah.
Our live interview with Russell Wilson.
I will say this. If Jalen Hurd starts playing this year, that jersey is going to the collection because everyone's going to want it. Guaranteed.
Accurate indeed. It's going to be very, very interesting. But guys, the 49ers haven't been sitting pat. They haven't been sitting pat.
Right.
No, this isn't undrafted free agents. That's a video that's coming to you. We're not going to spoil this live stream with talks of this because we'll ramble for 3 hours and it'll be midnight and it'll be bad for everybody and everyone will hate us for staying on for 12 hours. Listen, Niners have been making moves. They've been cutting guys, been freeing up space. All right, they're freeing up money, not like huge amounts of
Yeah.
money, but it's little
Like
bits of
$50.
money. Yeah, something like that. Look, they re-signed guard Tom Compton. They did that just before the draft.
Yay.
1-year contract. Same day, waived defensive tackle Josiah Coatney. They waived defensive back Obi Melifonwu, a guy that we thought maybe had a potential to stick on the roster. Doesn't look like it now. He's gone.
Nope.
They exercised a 5th-year option and extended Mike McGlinchey for the 2022 season, something we all knew was coming, something Lynch and basically Shanahan both announced at a press conference after day one. And then they waived defensive back Adonis Alexander, wide receiver Matt Cole, who was subsequently almost immediately picked up by the New York
He
Jets,
was.
and safety Chris Edwards. Thoughts on any of this? Does any of this move the needle for any of you guys?
The only thing that really moves the needle for me is the McGlinchey, but I know we're going to talk more in depth about that at a later time. Tom Compton, I still don't think Tom Compton makes it out of camp.
You know what moves the needle for me? The fact that they made these moves and then Richard Sherman and Tony Jefferson are sitting out there. That's what makes me think they cut a corner and they cut a safety. And either they were doing it, for the possibility of signing those guys, which could be, or they were doing it just for, because they have Hufanga and they got, Lenore and Ambry Thomas.
True.
Maybe that's what it was. But to me, it signaled that, Richard Sherman and Tony Jefferson might be coming to San Francisco.
That is probably true. I mean, I feel like that's probably the case. That's why you make the move and get rid of Melifonwu. You're going to bring in Jefferson. And then, yeah, I can just see the Richard Sherman stuff. It just feels like even he knows that this is probably going to be the best fit for him, San Francisco.
Yeah.
And that's why it's making me think that maybe there's a shift coming in Richard Sherman with his mentality, and I don't think his attitude per se, but just his mentality and what he sees his role in this team being. Maybe he knows he's not the superstar, and maybe that's this is the only place to get it done, and that's why they made some of the moves that they've made. The McGlinchey move was just interesting in terms of when it happened, because it happened, day 1, day 2 of the NFL draft, roughly. I think it was after day 2.
That they made these moves?
Well, they extended the 5th-year option on McGlinchey was after day 2, correct?
Yeah, they did it after they drafted Aaron Banks.
So maybe they were targeting someone else.
They were targeting someone else, and I think that's part of the signal.
Yeah, is they were looking at someone else.
Yeah.
They didn't get that guy, and they go, now it's time to extend McGlinchey. Give him his 5th year and make sure we got our right tackle.
A Walker, someone else.
I get it. It's a name drop for a specific person that they were probably targeting in the second round and didn't get.
Yeah, probably.
There's a good chance, right? There's a good chance.
His knee don't work anyway.
Hey, as far as because someone just brought this up, they said, Richard Sherman does make us better. Horst, do you believe Richard Sherman makes us better right now if we sign him? Alex?
If we sign him right now, does he make us a better team?
Yeah.
The fact that I'm hesitating makes me want to say no.
Yeah. I think it does make us a better team, but what it does is it shifts what we do on defense.
I think we're a better team in terms of like players, but we're one-dimensional. We're more predictable. And I think
we are in coverage, yes.
That to me doesn't make us a better team.
Because
I think skill-wise, we have better talent on the field, but we're limited in terms of what that talent can do. Therefore, we're not a better team.
I'll tell you, it makes me nervous going against Arizona and going against Seattle, because Lockett one-on-one with Richard Sherman is not a good look for us.
True.
And so you have to run zone. You can run man on the Verrett side, but you'd have to run zone on Richard Sherman's side, and you could mix in man. But if they catch you and Russ reads it right, that could be a big play, because Sherman don't have the speed now to stay with him.
It's true. We got you, Lou. We're on. We're moving on. So roster moves, none of those really move the needle too much, but it does signal that something's happening and the Niners are making moves. And if there's more signings incoming, whether it's undrafted guys, whether it's Richard Sherman, whether it's Jefferson, as you just said, who knows? You're just going to have to wait and see. But there are some very interesting things happening down in Southern California at the Spellman Performance Institute, whatever he calls it down there, with one Brandon Ayuk showing up along with Richie James Jr. to work out with the newest member of the 49ers and the newest quarterback in the quarterback room, Trey Lance. This is a good sign for Trey, number one, but it's very interesting that it's Ayuk, the one going down there right away, and maybe he knows time to get some work in with the guy who's going to be the quarterback for the next 4 or 5 years that I'm here in San Francisco, because after Jimmy's contract is up in 2 years, this is the guy I'm rolling with.
Yeah, I think that that's exactly what it is. Let's go get chemistry with this guy. I've worked with Jimmy Garoppolo. I know what to expect from Jimmy. I know what I'm going to get. I'm sure that he'll end up working with Jimmy in the offseason as well. But right now, go down there and help the young fella, especially because it wouldn't be. I guarantee Scangarello and Shanahan said, go down there and work with this guy because you get these two receivers down there. They know how Shanahan likes the routes run. They know the system. They can help Trey Lance, get all the things going, all the intricacies in the route running, the choice routes, what they're supposed to do. And then you can start building that chemistry and rapport as well. There are some things that with speed and everything, you just got to be able to get used to how someone runs a route. Famously, I know that Joe Montana said he could look at Jerry Rice, just him running away from him, and knew by how his hips and body language what he was going to do and be able to throw the ball. And that's what you're looking to build, that rapport and that chemistry. And that's why they need to start working together. I'm sure there's a lot of guys that are going to be working with him, but this is all about bringing Trey Lance along. How far along he gets will depend on, how much he picks up of the playbook. But it should be an interesting offseason and interesting to see what happens when they get into training camp, whether Trey Lance can actually push Jimmy Garoppolo for the starting job or if Jimmy's got this thing outright.
Yeah, you kind of took the words out of my mouth. Is that I think he was sent there.
Yeah.
As far as Shanahan and them, one, obviously Ayuk is a young guy, needs a lot of work. Two, that's the pair of the future right there. Is those two guys. No, I'd assume Debo's going to stick around as well. But I'm just saying it's their two youngest skill position guys.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be big that those two figured out. Another thing you might want to think about is those little like RPO and bubble screen plays are really hard to get exactly down. And Ayuk's the guy that's going to be running a lot of that stuff.
True.
So I think if maybe Shanahan has a set of plays that he wants them to work on.
Yeah.
A bubble screen, a RPO, regular screen, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's possible.
100% is. I think at the end of the day, not only is this a situation where he was obviously sent down there, it's a situation in which you're building your future, right? That's the whole intention and the whole design of this, is that you want your future wide receiver, young wide receiver, to be working with the future quarterback. And we saw the amount of success that Brandon Ayuk had in the system last year. Off the jump as a rookie, coming in. And not only coming in, but coming in was injured a little bit at the early on and then having to come through and fight through an injury. Just the amount of success he had, too, with a guy like Nick Mullins and C.J. Beathard out there. At the end of the day, if you have that out there and you have that working with Trey Lance, he's going to be able to give him the insights and the things that were good about Mullins, things he did well, so he can watch film also and go, I should take these things, don't do this, don't do that, I should be doing this. But also footwork, because it was my big knock on Trey Lance, was his footwork. I thought his footwork needed to be cleaned up. Well, now you're working with two of the faster wide receivers on the 49ers roster. You're going to be able to get your footwork and your timing and everything that he's working on down and synced with your wide receivers, which makes him a more effective passer in the pocket, on play action, out of the pocket, deep routes, intermediate routes, short routes. All of it's timing. It's all going to be on timing. And so now he has a chance to work with guys that he's actually going to be playing with on Sundays.
Yeah.
And he's going to have extended time to do that.
Well, really what they needed to do was fix his consistency with his drops, making sure they looked the same every single time.
That as well.
Making sure that his head wasn't bobbing and stuff as he was dropping back to make his reads. And, that's what he's getting better at. And he does look like he's made huge improvements and is getting a lot better. I'm definitely excited about what Trey Lance can do. I don't think the argument is he as talented or more talented than Jimmy Garoppolo? I don't think anyone has that question. It's the install. How much can he pick up? Because
it's all mental at this point.
It is. If he can't handle the offense to the point that Jimmy Garoppolo has a complete control and handle on the entire offense. If Trey Lance is 2017 Jimmy Garoppolo and only has the end of the playbook or a little bit of it, then your offense is limited when you get into games. So then you're expecting your players to make all the plays instead of being able to run the full install of what you need to do. You change what you run offensively. So the 49ers definitely, if Trey can pick it up and they can put in enough that Shanahan feels comfortable, he's got a shot to start. But if not, then Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the starter because he has full control and can run this offense, as well as can be expected from a player. That's why I think some of the reports that came out today are asinine, thinking that they were ready to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo for another backup quarterback. It makes no sense because Jimmy already understands this offense. Why would you bring in someone that doesn't?
It doesn't make any sense. The 49ers don't leak. So every time one of these reports comes out, it's just, I can't do anything else other than laugh internally, shake my head, and just wait, literally just wait a week, maybe even 2 weeks before the eventual report comes out that it's not real.
Yeah.
So, folks, anytime you hear something that's not coming out of Lynch or Shanahan's mouth, just take it with a grain of salt. And when we say something, if we're repeating it or regurgitating it, it's fact-based.
Yeah.
So congratulations. You figured out how to know when the 49ers are actually doing something and when it's a bunch of nonsense. You learn something new every day here on the 49ers Cutback. Every day. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Guys, at the end of the day, it's been an interesting week. With everything coming up too, with the mini camps coming on and just draft hangover. I feel draft hangover has been like a real thing this year because there was so much hype for 49ers fans leading up into the draft. What are they doing at 3? What are they doing at 43?
Yeah.
What moves are they making? Yeah, Jimmy, new quarterback, McCorkle, Jimmy, McCorkle, Trey Lance, Justin Fields. There was just so much back and forth.
Kyle Pitts.
Basically.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
It's just, there's been a big hangover this whole week with the draft finally being over. I feel like some 49ers fans have been relieved. Have you guys felt any of the draft hangover that some 49ers fans have been feeling?
I felt it. I was exhausted after the draft, especially the weekend. To be honest with you, after pick 3, there was just a sense of relief. I really did think it was going to be Trey Lance. In fact, I said that before they picked. It was going to be Trey Lance, and it was. But still in the back of my mind, there was just an echo of McCorkle, and it was something that I didn't want to see. I just didn't want them to trade up all that draft capital for him. But getting someone with huge upside is something I'm excited about. And the more and more you get behind Trey Lance, the easier it is. So I was definitely excited about that. But I thought that rounds 2 and 3, day 2, really took it out of us too. Because you've seen what the 49ers did, and then that press conference afterwards, you understood why they did what they did, and they thought on their feet. But really, it was apparent that they didn't, maybe execute it as well as they wanted to and get the guys that they absolutely wanted. So going into day 3, it was really like you're breathing hard, you're wondering what they're going to do. And then to their credit, they regrouped in a big way, and they nailed their day 3 selections with guys that have great potential and great upside that we could all be excited about, which is what I was expecting from the entire draft. So overall, I thought it was a roller coaster of emotions. And I think the reason it was so tiring is it started a month before the draft. As soon as they traded up, the chaos ensued.
Absolutely. Horace, man, how about you? Did the draft take it out of you?
Yeah, like you guys said, I was just so worried about them picking McCorkle at 30. It was like such a feeling of relief when it was Trey Lance.
Yeah.
And then the disappointment a little bit with the second day. And then happiness with the third day. And it's kind of, you can only discuss, especially when we're pretty focused on it being one of 3 guys, third pick, which would be Wilson, Fields, or Lance, is who we all were cool with. It kind of, you can only bring up so much about those 3 guys.
Yeah.
Before it's like, man, like, I don't get tired of talking about football, but at the same time, we're talking about the same 3 guys over and over and over. I just want the pick to happen so we can be excited and break down whoever they pick more.
Fair enough. And I agree. I definitely felt the hangover from day 2 especially. Day 2 is where it really hit me. Because day 1 was that relief and the excitement that we got the quarterback that wasn't McCorkle. And then day 2 was anticipation and excitement because we felt there was a lot of guys, rounds 2, round 3, they could target and go after. And the fact that they had guys in mind that we had been targeting and we had been talking about, and then the fact that they sat around and didn't get those guys was a little frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a letdown because while we walked away with 3 guys on day 2, man, it wasn't the same as some of the other guys, some of the other names we could have walked away with, and some of the impact those guys would have had on day 1. Whereas with an Aaron Banks, we're not as sure, right? You're not as sure.
I think I'm pretty sure now.
Well, you're pretty sure he's going to start?
No, I don't think he's going to start day one, but I think
Okay.
he's going to have an impact on this roster right away because he's going to push Daniel Brunskill and them to be, really good. Like, these guys have real competitions now. Do you think Daniel Brunskill is worried about Colton McKivitz? I don't think so. But I think he's worried about Aaron Banks because he's big, imposing, physical, and fast. I mean, the fact that he led Notre Dame in, with the linemen as far as conditioning drills, he was the one always in front. That's
Sure.
got to go a long ways of saying about, what he is as a competitor, as an athlete.
Absolutely. But it was just a grind. It was a long grind, and it was a long grind leading up to it too. And so real quick too, I want to shout out all of our new subs.
Yeah.
We're at 788 right now, but we have a nice little list here of people who are publicly subscribed since just after the draft day ended. So Robert Preston, JC, Tony Campbell, David Campbell, Jabari Owens, who's up there on the screen, Quinn Price, who's up there on the screen, Brian Carter, who's up there on the screen, and the man with the coolest username in town now. He's also the new sheriff in town.
Yeah.
Shout out
I
to
like
the
that one.
Shout out to the new sheriff in town for subscribing. We appreciate all the new subscribers. We also obviously appreciate everyone who has been subscribing. Now, it's the best part of the night for
Yeah,
all
it
of
is.
us. Best part of the night for us. Best part of the night for you because it's live Q&A time.
Yes,
So
sir.
right now, chat
Yes,
is your
sir.
opportunity to type in questions, and we've already had a few come in.
Yeah.
So let's get to a couple of these. Let's see here. We have from Jag. Do you think Lance will be put in with certain packages, or will Trey be put in only when he learns the whole playbook? Ant, how do you feel about this? Then Horst, to you.
Certain packages. I think he will. I think he'll be used in red zone and short yardage situations. Think about it last year. They were going to use Jet McKinnon at quarterback in some of these situations, to run a wildcat-like look. Now you will have Trey Lance, and he'll be able to, run the offense and the read option with him and Raheem Mostert and them. And the impact that he will have with Raheem Mostert in the outside zone run, the fact that the defensive end will have to freeze and not be able to get down the line of scrimmage and be able to make a tackle on him on an outside zone is going to be impressive. It's going to be fun to watch. Plus, just the bully ball that you will be able to run. Trey Sermon, 226 pounds. Trey Lance, 224 pounds. Will be able to run people over in the red zone. The 49ers did have a little bit of questions in short yardage situations. So I think that he can add to that. I think, as a change-up, Trey Lance going in there, filling in for Jimmy Garoppolo in short yardage situations, especially around the red zone. Don't be surprised if at the end of the year you look, even though Trey Lance didn't start any games, if he has 4 or 5, touchdowns rushing the football.
Interesting. Horst, how you feeling about this? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I think you're going to see a pistol type formation with probably Juice and Sermon would be the main guy, or Jeff Wilson. They're two harder runners. Out there for goal lines. I think you'll see it. If it does anything, it just makes that backside end stay home.
Oh.
Because you can't dive in when you have a quarterback like that.
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, it's year one. I think year one, it's going to be very limited in terms of what it is. Short downs, third and shorts, fourth and shorts, things of that nature. Goal line packages is where you would see Trey Lance a lot, especially with Trey Sermon, like Horst had just mentioned and brought up, and even Kyle Juszczyk, because there's just so much power. There's a power aspect there that makes it really hard to shorten short distance situations. Don't be surprised, too, if you see Lance out there in 5 wide sets, and then motioning in Jalen Hurd as well and using him as a power running back because that is an option for them as well. But as we all know, he played running
100%.
back at Tennessee. So, listen, at the end of the day, Trey Lance is going to be asked to do specific things as a quarterback for the 49ers this year. They will expand on it most likely in year 2, especially if Jimmy has a lot of success, because if Jimmy's having a lot of success, he's a very, very good quarterback, and we feel he could be a top 10 quarterback in the league when he's having as much success as he had in 2019. So, at the end of the day, that could very well be the case. Another question we had was from Niner Joe Empire, who asked, "Isn't rookie minicamp on Wednesday?" And yes, it is. Are you excited about that, Ant?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm ready. I'm ready for these rookies to get out there. I'm ready for the football, the season to really be starting, especially the off season. I want these guys to start learning. I want to see Trey Lance, out there. I know we won't get to see much of it, but I just want to be able to hear about it, talk about it, get excited about it, because it's going to be really fun. You know what I mean? And it's going to be exciting. Horst, are you excited about minicamp too, man?
Yeah, it just means we're one more step closer to football.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it. Obviously, I'm excited to see whatever comes out, about the rookies, how they're doing at the camps and stuff. But I'm just always excited because every single thing that happens is a cross off on the date that we get closer to football.
Agreed.
So we got the draft, gone. Free agency, gone. Now we got minicamp.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, and schedule release. Don't forget about that
schedule release
schedule
next
release.
Wednesday as
Yeah,
well.
those pretty much happen around the same time.
Yeah, they do.
And then we hit that schedule release. We're 2 months out from camp.
It's true. It does. It happens fast.
And that makes me happy.
How happy? Like 6 to midnight happy, or just like regular happy? It's a PG show. It's PG. It was a joke.
Wow.
It was a joke. Horst, JLE and Jaron Austin both ask about the running back room. Who's in? Who's out? Who's the odd man out? What are you thinking?
My prediction, barring injury, would be Mostert, Wilson, Sermon, and Mitchell.
Ooh, Mitchell. Okay. Yeah. All right, I like it.
It's fair. It's fair. I just don't know. I mean, you got Gallman that you just signed, and Gallman was the leading rusher for the New York Giants last year.
Sure.
But I do think that, those would be the most likely names that you would keep for. Because Juice is the fifth running back. But, I think it's going to be one heck of a battle. But one thing I will say is there's no guarantee that they're going to walk out of that room with that, with them 100%, that group. So, don't be shocked if all of a sudden, the four is different because of an injury. There's just no guarantee. Hopefully our guys get through healthy because it could be one heck of a running back room. But I think it would be interesting if the 49ers had 2 rookie running backs on their 53-man roster when they have Gallman, Hasty, and Walter that they would obviously be cutting, which is kind of interesting because all those guys are going to land somewhere.
It's true, which is why a part of me is wondering whether or not Mitchell gets stashed on the practice squad early in the season, early in the year.
I think the only way to save Mitchell is injury because you saw those clips.
Yeah. Listen, I did see the clips. If you haven't seen the clips, you need to go watch Elijah Mitchell clips. They are pretty incredible. But yeah, I could see that happening as well. The mysterious injury report coming up and just appearing out of nowhere in thin air because it's the 49ers and we got interesting things going on.
Every team does it.
But could they keep an extra guy if they become the return guy? They could edge out a way to.
Mitchell definitely has that
to create an extra roster spot. Maybe you don't think they're going to keep that many, but
it's possible.
Yeah.
Jay Ellie also asked, "Are we good at the tight end position? Is there anyone out there that may fit this offense?"
If you want an honest answer, no.
We're not done, or that
I don't think we're good at it.
Oh, I don't think so either.
I like Ross Dwelly. You guys both know that, but on a championship team to do the things that Kyle wants to do with his offense, they need another better tight end. I don't know who that person will be. I'm not.
He brought up earlier Tyler Eifert. Would you kick the tires on Tyler Eifert? What about Delaney Walker?
I would go Delaney Walker, man.
That might be the only name that intrigues me.
Yeah.
Just because I just don't know I don't understand the obsession, well, not the obsession, but the idea of Tyler Eifert. I've never seen anything from Tyler Eifert that's made me be like, wow, man, yeah, like that guy's a great tight. I haven't ever seen the production value or the things
he
they can
pushed
bring.
that corner down and caught the winning catch in the championship game or the divisional game 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago.
2-hand shoved to the back.
It was.
Let's be honest, Tyler Eifert is more talented than Ross Dwelly.
Agreed.
So in a same role, could he put out more production than Ross Dwelly?
Possibly,
yes.
But how much of an upgrade is it? Like, in all honesty, does the signing of Tyler Eifert solidify the tight end room for us?
I don't know, but they're bringing up some other tight ends as well.
Trey Burton is the name I like.
Trey Burton and Jimmy Graham.
Trey Burton would be the guy you would bring in as a Jordan Reed light replacement.
Yes.
The only thing with Jimmy Graham is the fact that, number one, he can't block.
No.
At all.
Like, he's not a good blocker, so I don't know how that would work in Shanahan's system where everyone needs to be able to block.
Yeah, I think if we wanted Jimmy Graham, we could have took Miami.
Oh, Brevin Jordan.
Brevin Jordan at any point.
Yeah.
Literally at any point because he fell far.
So,
he fell far.
To me, he's just a younger Jimmy Graham.
I mean, let's be honest, Jimmy Graham in his prime was way more explosive and talented than
Oh, yeah,
Robert
yeah,
Jordan.
yeah. But I'm talking about what Jimmy Graham brings to the table today.
Yeah, he's definitely not as athletic and able to do
don't
the
get me wrong.
things.
Jimmy Graham 8 years ago was
Yeah.
We all remember
he
that.
caught that touchdown in the divisional game we thought was the game ender.
Yep, we remember that. Everyone remembers it.
I think that if they could have could get another tight end, that they should definitely do it, unless we see great improvement from Charlie Warner. But I don't
expect it.
I haven't seen Charlie Warner do anything in the receiving game that makes me think that this guy is going to be able to be a great third option for the Niners. But we haven't also thought about the 49ers running less 3 tight end sets. Maybe they're going to run more 2 tight end sets or even 1 tight end sets. And maybe that's why the shift is, because now you're going to have Jalen Hurd back. You're going to have these guys.
About to make that call.
Yeah, because if you're going to have them back, then you have a power slot. You have Travis Benjamin also to play slot.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they're going to go with them, spread it out a little bit more. And let's be honest, if you have a Trey Lance type of guy, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I think Hurd, which hate to be dependent on Hurd. I think he's a stud.
But depend on him. Do it.
But I'm worried right now.
Lean on me.
I was the first one that was big on Jalen Hurd right away when they picked him.
Right.
Because I knew about him. And he could play that position. He's big enough that Jordan Reed did last year. Not as one when he replaced Kittle, but the position he was playing before Kittle got injured. Like where they were using him almost more as a wing or a power slot, like you're saying.
Yeah.
And if you're asking me, would I rather have Jalen or Tyler Eifert? Jalen.
Well, especially because he doesn't cost any money.
Not just that, but
very, very accurate indeed.
But I still
Juwan Jennings is the tight end.
If I'm the team and he checks out medically, the guy I bring in is Delaney Walker.
That's actually not a horrible idea.
It's not a bad one.
Juwan Jennings as a light tight end is not a bad idea because that guy is physical enough and could definitely develop into a tight end.
Did you see your guy? This is kind of off topic. The guy from Iowa State, the receiver you really liked, and he didn't really pan out, the big one.
Hakeem Butler.
Hakeem Butler
is playing tight end.
Yeah, for Philly. Yeah, they picked him up last year after Arizona cut him, and now he's developing into a tight end. He needs to put on some weight.
Well, Lou, there's plenty of June 1 cuts we should think about, because I'm assuming you mean guys we can sign, but we don't know who's going to get cut. So,
and if you mean on the 49ers, at this point, it's going to be hard to say. Probably Richburg.
And Richburg's going to be a retirement. I don't think he'll be a
But
cut.
I just mean off the roster.
I mean, Richburg would be the only one I can think of. Maybe
Jimmy's the only other chance, and I don't see it happening.
I don't see it happening.
It's not
either.
happening.
One of the safeties, maybe, if they want to free up room.
I don't think so now. Now that they already cut.
Melifonwu.
And they cut another safety.
Oh, who was the other guy?
Yeah, they just cut another one.
Wasn't it Adonis Alexander?
It was Adonis. Chris Edwards.
Yeah.
Chris Edwards. Yeah.
So they've cut 2 safeties. So they've limited some of the safety depth that they had. So
it's true.
Now they don't have to do that.
No, the big
Jay Ellie, who needed to put on 40 pounds?
I'm assuming he meant McGlinchey.
Or
maybe Juwan Jennings.
If he's talking about Juwan Jennings, Juwan Jennings is pushing 225.
He's a big dude. He's yacked.
Or is he talking about Butler, Horst?
That's what I'm.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe he could be talking about that.
But back to the tight end situation and the names there. The only one that even remotely interests me.
Oh, Butler needs to put on 40. That's true.
Okay. True.
Yeah, he needs to put on a lot of weight.
No, he does. Would be Trey Burton. Trey Burton is that only tight end name, and that's only because he's Jordan Reed light.
Oh, I know why.
He's also a Florida Gator and a former quarterback, just like Jordan Reed was.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't think he's that much of an upgrade over Ross Dwelley.
I think he's a better pass catcher and receiving option than Ross Dwelley. He's not a blocker. I don't see him as a blocker.
Well, then why do we want him?
If you're looking for someone to specifically replace just what Jordan Reed's production was in terms of the pass catching.
Jalen Hurd, Juwan Jennings.
Agreed, but again, safety valve in case those guys aren't healthy.
Austin Watkins.
I mean, listen, you're not wrong on any of those
Kevin
names,
White.
but they have to be on the field.
We have those guys all on the roster.
They have to be on the field.
They will be on the field if they make the roster.
If they're healthy, too.
I mean, there's a reason Trey Burton's still out there. I'm just saying.
Correct. I think he wants too much money.
So Jay Aguayo.
You think he wants too much money?
I think he wanted too much money. I think he saw himself as a number 1 tight end after some of the stuff, the production that he put in when he was the only tight end option in Indianapolis. I think he thought that was enough to get a team to take a chance.
That's interesting.
So Jay Aguayo wants to know who will be our kick and punt returner for the start of the year. My money for kickoffs is Elijah Mitchell.
Mine's on Travis Benjamin.
For kickoffs or punts?
Both.
Ooh, both, you
Fair.
say.
The only other person that could be punts, too, is Ambry Thomas.
Also, I don't think they'll
That
put
was-
Ayuk out there, but he definitely has the ability.
It will not be Ayuk. There's no way they want him to get him hurt. He's the most dynamic.
Yeah.
I'll give you that, Horace. He's the most dynamic of the return guys.
Ambry Thomas is the name in my mind for punt returns, and Travis Benjamin was the name in my mind for kick returns.
I think it could be Travis Benjamin for both. He's a veteran. He has a potential to take it all the way, but he also, he has
Won't
sure
do
hands.
stupid stuff.
He's going to make the proper play, which the Niners have often. That's why they had Richie James back there. They knew he wouldn't make a mistake.
Correct.
The other guys would make mistakes, and they would put Trent Taylor when they really needed somebody to be
Just to catch it.
secure.
Yep.
And they actually would be like, we know we're only going to get 5 yards in return yards, and we don't need that anymore.
Tommy, we aren't the Oakland Raiders, or the Las Vegas Raiders. We don't draft punters in the second round, so
Man,
True.
he is still angry.
We wait
did.
at least till the 4th. I mean, come on.
at least.
Yeah.
At the very
Well, we
very
did draft
least.
one in the.
You know what we got out of that?
Uh,
An average punter.
We did get an average
Whoa.
punter. Ross Dwelly has good hands. His route running needs work, which is why I'm saying
Slow.
Trey Burton. Trey Burton is a much better.
Yeah,
route
I don't
runner.
think the question is the hands. I think it's just
No.
how dynamic he is, and because the thing that we're looking at it from is not the prism of him being a second tight end, but George Kittle's going to miss 2 or 3 games.
It's you got to treat it like Trent Williams, right?
Right.
At some point, he's
Some point he's going to miss a couple of games, and it's just because he plays so hard and so physical. And if we get 16 out of him, great. But we have to
17.
be prepared. 17, sorry. Well, I'll take 16 at this point.
I will take 16.
But you're right. And if we have to get Ross Dwelly to start a couple of games, our offense is definitely more limited than with George Kittle in there. And you can't expect to replace the production of George Kittle. But if we could get a little bit closer in the receiving game, that'd be nice.
Gary, here's the thing with Travis Benjamin in Los Angeles, or now, yeah, that is Los Angeles.
The Chargers.
With the Chargers, is he was the third wide receiver there in a system that, didn't really utilize their third wide receiver at that time.
Who, Travis Benjamin?
Yeah. At that time in San Diego, he was specifically just a deep threat guy, just over the top,
Yeah.
take the top off the defense. That's literally his only role. Shanahan is going to have a much more expanded role.
Well, yeah.
Just look at what Taylor Gabriel did the 1 year with Shanahan in Atlanta. He blew up. The minute he was away from Kyle Shanahan, did absolutely nothing because no one else knew what to do with his skill set.
Well, you don't have to look anywhere past Travis Benjamin himself when he
Yeah.
played for Shanahan in Cleveland.
He did. He played fantastic for Shanahan in Cleveland. He was dynamic, and that's why Kyle brought him in. He's gonna shock people. I mean, if you watch film on this guy, he gets open a lot. He just didn't get the ball very much.
Very true. Very, very true.
I mean, look at.
Indeed.
I like the player, but look how much production they got out of Marquise Goodwin. He hasn't done anything anywhere else.
Yeah,
And I think Travis Benjamin's a better football player than Marquise Goodwin.
he's definitely a better football player.
And Gary, that's fair enough. If you're talking about as a returner, maybe, but you know what you're going to get out of Travis Benjamin, which is he's going to secure the football. He's going to get you the yards that you need. You don't have to worry about that too much. And maybe, who knows, maybe he does have enough still in the tank.
Oh, he has plenty in the tank. He was returning kicks and stuff in with San Diego when they were San Diego. He was down there getting it done. This guy still has it. I think a lot of people are sleeping on him because he didn't play last year.
And if you guys are expecting Devin Hester, we don't have him.
No one does. That's why he's one of the greatest.
It's true.
That's why Devin
He is one
Hester
of the
should go to the Hall of Fame.
Well, as far
Probably, just
as far
with
as
the
kick
returns, man.
returns go, all we need is somebody that other teams have a little bit of fear of. Because right now they have zero fear. They're kicking the ball high into the air, allowing the kickoff team to get down the field, and then pinning us inside the 20 because they have zero fear of our returner.
It's true.
We need somebody that they actually fear, and Benjamin has enough respect that they would fear him.
I think that is fair. I think that's fair. I think time will tell whether or not that's the case. And in all honesty, I think for right now, the 49ers are okay with that because they have an Elijah Mitchell, they have an Ambry Thomas, they have options.
Here's
now.
my bold prediction.
Bold.
If Benjamin is healthy, he will return a kick for a touchdown this year.
Whoa!
It's happening. Just get ready for it.
Whoa! It's really bold. It is really, really bold. Tommy, I miss Andy Lee too. He was a fantastic punter. But he's old now and he's not the same.
I'll take Bradley Pinion as well.
I will also take
And
Bradley
yes,
Pinion.
Caleb Mitch
Pinion is my
does lay
favorite.
the lumber.
He does. Pinion is my favorite, though, of the recent punters. Absolutely. How many wide receivers are going to be on the roster this season, Ant?
I think it's going to be 6, but it could be 7. 6 or 7.
Okay. Horse?
I agree.
You agree with 6 or 7?
1.
No, I'm going to go with 7. I think the number is 7. And I think it's just because of the injury history that has happened and occurred in San Francisco. They're going to play it safe at the start of the year because it's a position that's flexible. And if guys are staying healthy halfway through the year, you can always release some guys, move them down to practice squad, whatever you need to do.
I think you're looking at it too, who's contributing on special teams. This is going to make that's going to be a big point. So, I mean, that is how someone like Juwan Jennings could make the roster. Or like we talked about, maybe he's making the roster as a 4th tight end. Don't know. That'll be interesting.
Oh, definitely going to be interesting. Gary wants no part of that whatsoever. No way. He also says he has been. He's a has-been. He used to be great in regards to Travis Benjamin.
Who's a has-been?
He's saying Travis Benjamin is a has-been. We'll see.
Somebody's going to be right.
We will see.
Jack, a lot of people don't know me, but you probably shouldn't go down that road. Because I'm not wrong very often when it comes to this stuff.
You know, we play a game around here.
Yeah.
And it's called Ant Wins.
Yes.
Because Anthony typically wins.
Ant wins. Fun game, Horst.
Well, actually, technically, it's called I Win because Anthony says I win. I call it Ant Win.
You just wait until we make a whole episode of our random unknown backup quarterback game.
Oh, gosh. That'll be a must-watch.
I'll just stand here. I'll just look pretty on screen and smile. What is your feelings on Golden Tate, gentlemen? Is he still unsigned?
He is.
He is still
unsigned. You know
unsigned.
my feeling on Golden Tate? Douchebag.
So you're telling me you don't want to see him start a fight with Jalen Ramsey?
Well, not one that he's going to lose.
Why? Then Jalen Ramsey's out of the game. You bring him in for that, we get Jalen Ramsey out of the game. All of a sudden, guess what?
1.5.
Someone's not traveling around with our receiver.
$1.5 million to go on a field and just top 2 times, and potentially in the playoffs, right? Like just 3 times. Just go out there.
He's only going to be active for 2 games.
Get him tossed. You know, maybe he can return.
Hey, on the real, Golden Tate is a very good.
He's a good player.
Slot receiver.
Slot receiver, especially.
He could be fantastic for us. Possession role taking over for Kendrick Bourne. I don't think they need him, and I don't think they're going to address veteran wide receiver, but they could if they feel it's a need. I think they got the guys that they need. As long as Jalen Hurd is healthy and Juwan Jennings is healthy, I think they got the guys that they need.
Tommy, I don't know what I missed. You'll have to keep me up to date here. He says I missed Jose Cortez.
The original XFL.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
it's true.
I remember that kicker.
He was on the champion team with Tommy Maddox, the LA.
The LA Extreme.
Yeah, they played the San Francisco Devils and Demons in the championship.
Yeah,
I went to an XFL game.
I'm sorry.
The Demons quarterback was Mike Pulaski.
Actually, the first year was kind of exciting.
Well, I mean, it only lasted that first year.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
That's true. That very first game was exciting until
the reiteration
until they started playing the football, everything leading up to the football.
The reiteration was actually better. It just got stopped.
Yeah.
Except I did like the whole coin
run
toss.
For the ball.
Run for the ball. I mean, who cares that people were just getting injured because it was craziness.
It's true.
It was savage. They should have a fist fight.
Vince McMahon out there. Welcome to the XFL.
That's true.
They should have had a fight.
All right, Matt Burgos says Niners got cap space for Julio Jones? ?
Only if Jimmy's gone.
That's accurate.
I mean, that is the only way they would have enough cap space because I think he has $22 million. Oh, wait, I take it back. Post June 1, they would be able to have the cap space because I think it's like 7.8 against the cap if that happens.
So stay tuned.
I'm not 100% on the cap number, so don't.
Stay tuned, 49ers fans.
Alex,
Post June 1,
looks like
maybe.
you skipped a question.
Oh, does Josh Rosen make the team? Jaron, listen. We're going to have an episode on it. Totally.
We might talk about it at the end of today.
I think possibly.
I think we could talk about it a little bit. I mean, do you guys honestly think he's going to beat out Sudfeld?
No.
Sudfeld got, a roster bonus or money to come, signing bonus. What do you get, like $200,000?
Something like that.
So, I mean, if you just follow the money, they obviously see Sudfeld over
Josh Rosen.
Yeah. I would think I think Rosen's on the, like I told you guys, I wasn't so sure about a guy named Josh making this roster. So
there's a good chance there's no Josh making the roster.
Are you talking about the AAFJLE?
I think he is. Here's the thing. At the end
Run
of
skill came from that.
It's true.
He did.
He did come from the AAF. at the end of the day, Josh Rosen there's just nothing there, man. He's going to end up being on someone's practice squad if he wants to. If he actually legitimately wants to stay in the league, that's the only way he's going to stick.
Well, and he might be on the 49ers practice squad.
He could end up being on the 49ers practice squad, but there's no way he's making the 53-man roster.
I don't think so, but I don't know if there's an injury or something.
To Trey Lance?
No, I'm saying an injury to Sudfeld.
We've already talked way more about Rosen than we're supposed to talk about at the end of the episode.
True.
Blue G, Rosen will make the team if Garoppolo doesn't? No.
I don't even think there's a guarantee that if Garoppolo doesn't, that there's a guarantee Rosen will make the team.
No, I don't think Rosen is making this team just period, flat out. End of story.
Yeah.
We'll break it down, though, more here in a few
We can definitely break it down more at the end, at the very end. I choose John Lynch and the 49ers. He used to be a San Diego Charger fan from 1960 till the move to LA.
Hey, thanks for Fred Dean.
Rob Swink asks, what is up with Ebicom? Will he start?
No, he's going to be coming on third down.
Yeah.
Think so?
Yeah, I think he's going to come in. I think the whole goal right now will be for Bosa and Armstead to play the defensive ends with DJ Jones and Kinlaw on base downs. And then here comes D Ford and Ebicom to go along with Bosa and Armstead. And that's going to be one heck of a pass rush. They're going to do some fun stuff.
It's going to be very interesting indeed.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any chance that Ebicom is on the field as a linebacker, as an outside linebacker?
Could be, but I don't think so. I think he's going to be out there as an edge pass rusher.
I love Rosen can clean the locker room after practice.
Nice.
This is a good one. Listen, I'm not 100% sold on what Ebicom's role is going to be with the 49ers. I think the thing I know most and the thing I'm most confident and comfortable saying is that he's definitely going to have a pass rushing role on this team. Now, whether he's a guy that's going to be in on base downs and base packages,
occasionally
he could be. He very well could be. But I think the Niners have a lot of options, and I think they made the move for Ebicom because they like the potential of what he could be and what he could develop into and what he could become, especially with this group. But the signings of Arden Key, the signings of Hurst, correct? I think those things signal that the Niners have options.
Talk about another battle. That defensive line group.
Man.
To make that team is going to be outrageous. You're talking about Kevin Givens maybe not making the team.
That's kind of crazy.
Or Blair, or...
Well, Blair's not even on the roster right now.
Still technically, right?
No, they had the physical, but they never officially signed him.
Yeah. I think if it was an obvious no with Blair too, I think it would have already come out and been announced. Or at least Blair would have said something.
Arden Key might have been the reason that it was a no with Blair.
Maybe. Possibly.
They could still sign him, but I mean it's gonna be rough to make that defensive line. Yeah. That defensive line is so freaking good right now.
It's deep, dude.
Dude, it is. They're going to be rough. And that might be another reason why Sherman would end up making sense. I know we come back to Sherman, but because they're going to be
Sorry,
rough.
Lou.
I'm just saying.
It would make sense because, right, if the pass rush is elite and the front four is that dominant, then you don't need Richard Sherman to be elite.
Yeah.
You just need him to be Richard Sherman.
Well,
nice,
I mean,
that was good.
There's going to be some craziness. The training camp battles for the 49ers are going to be off the charts.
Iron sharpens iron.
So Luigi asks, let's say Garoppolo does get moved because they feel Lance is 100% ready. Who are the quarterbacks besides Lance and Sudfeld?
That's a good question.
I know what you're getting at, and I think I'll speak for all of us and correct me if I'm wrong. Rosen's not an NFL quarterback.
I think, to be honest with you, I think if they did move him, I don't think there's a guarantee they keep three quarterbacks.
Might be the first time in the Shanahan era in San Francisco there's not three.
Could be. Because of the way that it works with the practice squad, you could put someone on there and protect them. So, I mean, there's no reason to have... You could use that roster spot for somebody else. So, I mean, there's no guarantee. I mean, maybe it's Rosen. It could be.
Matt Burgos?
No.
I am down for that bet if Fan is.
No.
What?
Matt Burgos says, if the Niners win the Super Bowl, Ant and Horst should have to shave their faces, and Alex should shave his head.
Why? I already believe the Niners should win, so why would I bet?
No, because then Alex has to shave his head.
And I'm not doing that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not
shaving my face.
Not shaving my head for the Super
Bowl. I'll go back in time, big time. Yeah.
I'll get a mohawk.
A mohawk?
I won't get a mohawk.
What about a mullet?
I mean, I could do that.
Yeah.
To do that. You seen pictures of me as a kid, right?
What's wrong with the mullet? Mullets rock.
I don't know. I used to have one.
Yeah.
Good old 90s, my dude.
I may or may not have one right
I know
now.
Ralph had a mullet at some point without even
Yeah,
seeing it.
I had the mullet too. Like, you know. Megan says no, I like his hair.
You don't have a...
She doesn't have a say in this?
Who
Are
are
you
you?
sure?
Yeah. Why she,
I feel like her
as long as this haircut takes place right before the wedding, I'm in.
Yikes, dude! Yikes! No!
You know what she's saying right now?
No.
She doesn't love you for you.
She loves me for my hair.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I get it though. I get it. Mullets
It
for
has to
everyone
do a
except
friar
Aaron. Has
tuck.
to a friar tuck.
It's probably because I already basically am rocking the mullet, so
It's true.
He is.
it's not really anything for me.
Ant's got the Troy Tulowitzki.
I do.
Bryce Harper.
This has turned into
What can I say?
quite
Horst?
the ordeal.
I'm edgy.
Ah!
Hey, I can't talk too much because I wish I could grow hair.
I'm just glad you said it. I'm just glad you said it, my guy.
Shouldn't there be hair in the front of this?
Oh yikes! Bye. Yeah, you know what?
Wow.
She does love me for
She's
only my
leaving
hair. For only the hair. Horst.
Wait, are you leaving Alex or are you mad at us and leaving the podcast? Can you,
She's definitely not leaving me.
Yeah.
But I mean, if the hair gets shaved, I might be out a fiance and out money for a wedding.
what if we glue the hair from our beards to your head?
No way.
No,
We're gonna pull an Impractical Jokers.
I've watched Jackass.
Yeah,
It might
that
go a
too.
different way, Horse.
I wasn't planning on that.
Hey, but which
Big
battle
yikes.
do you guys think is going to be the biggest battle at training camp right now? Position battle.
I'd say running back in D-line. Or do you mean starting?
No, I think running back. I'm just talking about positions
To
right
make
now.
the team?
Yeah.
Running back in D-line.
Yeah, I would say running back and D line. You know what? No, I'm gonna go cornerback.
You think that's going to be the toughest one?
I think it's gonna be the toughest one because I think Ambry Thomas might surprise some people, and if you bring back Richard Sherman, what are your options outside of Verrett? Because if Verrett's healthy, Mosley, Sherman, and Ambry Thomas, that could be a huge battle there for that second wide receiver, that second cornerback slot. And I feel that cornerback is the big question. So at the end of the day, if that's not solidified, and you have a rotating door over there with your second DB, I got some concerns because you're putting a lot of pressure on your D line.
I'm looking at the lines. I think those ones are going to be really tough. Especially D line, but I think offensive line too. I think familiar names are going to get cut because that's going to be one heck of a battle. You might see Sean Coleman gone. Guys that are at least Tom Compton, guys that are at least known around the league that might not make this team because they've improved so much on the O line and D line.
Yeah, Jay Elliott, I was going to say right guard. That's why I asked. He meant making the roster or starting, and he said making the roster.
Oh yeah, if you're talking about just like a position, I think
It has to be right guard in the second corner spot now.
I don't think second corner right now unless they sign Sherman. Because I think if it's right now, don't you think it's Mosley?
Yeah,
straight
that's
up?
actually a
Most
good
likely
point.
The other spot is safety because you got you got Tarvarius Moore, and you got Jimmy Ward. Does Tarvarius Moore started a lot of games? Can he beat one of them out for that job? I don't think he'll beat Jimmy Ward out, but could Jimmy Ward ultimately be moved over if he's better than Tart?
Well, the thing is, Tart does rhyme with fart.
I don't know what that has to do with anything that we're talking about.
I don't know what that has to do with anything.
But
Also,
I like it.
the other reason safety might be something to look at is you have Marcel Harris, but you also now have Talanoa Hufanga. And they're only going to keep 4 safeties.
Tommy's right about the horse doing wasabi snooters, by the way, when he just completely goes randomly off topic. That's the wasabi kicking in the brain cells, and then he just comes up with something random. That's why I love this man around here. That's why I love this man. Lou G says, can you guys take a moment and tell me what your thoughts are? Farts? See, farts are on the brain now. Way to go, horse. What your thoughts are on K Street this year. I'm assuming means Contavia Street.
He's going to have to battle to make this roster.
I don't know if he can make it.
I don't know if he can either.
His face.
Horse, you don't think so?
Why?
I mean, this is the first year he's going to be like fully healthy. He has a full
Hold on,
offseason.
we've said this though every year.
No, but every other year he was rehabbing.
True.
This is the
Touche.
first time he's not coming out of a season rehabbing. He's having a full offseason.
Accurate.
I understand what you're saying, that, he's never got the full year of development. He just doesn't do it for me. I mean, I think he's gotten when he has been on the field, and I understand I could be totally wrong, and with the year of training work, be ready. But to me, it seems like every time he does get a chance to play, he gets outplayed by someone you don't expect him to. Kevin Givens, guys like that.
True.
I think he is a back end of the roster NFL player. Street.
Yeah.
But not on this team.
And I think it too depends on how many defensive linemen the 49ers keep. Are they going to keep 10 or are they going to keep 9? If they keep 10, he's got a shot to make the roster. If they keep 9, it's going to be tight.
But it's interesting because because Street's pretty much only an interior guy, right?
No, I mean, he could play edge.
He could.
He could play a base 4-3 defensive end, possibly.
So we're talking... So who's he competing with? Kinlaw's going to make the team. I'd be shocked.
Well, Kinlaw's inside.
Also true.
You're talking Armstead, Nick Bosa. Are you talking inside guys or outside guys?
Well, I thought he played both.
Well, he does.
No, so I'm saying like Kinlaw, Bosa, Armstead, DJ Jones. Those guys are locks. So, I mean, that leaves up, 5 spots tops?
Well, and I think there's other guys that are...
So you have him compete. There probably are other locks.
Ebukam, D Ford. I think D Ford has to be a lock as long as he's healthy.
Now we're battling for 3 spots top.
Well, and then what's the dude that they signed from Carolina? He's a lock.
Now we're battling for 2 spots. That's what I'm getting.
Hurst and Arden Key are probably pretty close to locks.
Yeah, then that's no spots.
So, I mean, Kevin Givens is still there. Darion Daniels,
Well, I think he's better than Darion Daniels.
Well, agreed. I'm just saying those are guys that are there. And that's not even talking about some of the guys we saw make improvements last year.
That's what I'm saying. It's just there's such a good room there. It's less of a knock on Street and more of a compliment to how good the Niners do.
Oh yeah, he'll end up in Seattle. No one worry.
Or yeah, he'll be, or you'll see him in New York.
It's true.
True.
You could see him there too. You definitely see him there too.
Or maybe he'll go to Las Vegas and hang out with Solomon Thomas.
He could.
We'll have a good time.
Zach Kerr, thank you. I couldn't think of the name. Appreciate it.
Shout out
Jaron
to
came
Zach.
through for saying Zach Kerr. I appreciate that.
He's a lot bigger than Steve Kerr.
Hey, he's huge and he is hilarious.
Yeah, he is a funny dude.
If you ever watch him mic'd up, he's going to be a lot of fun.
Add him on Instagram. Funny dude.
Yeah.
Funny dude indeed. Jag says, do you guys think D Ford will play? And if he does, will they play him the way we used to play Charles Haley back in the day?
I think he will play.
Okay.
I have changed my thought to thinking he will just because of the way that they worked out the contract and kind of the language that they've talked as far as in conversations about him. I think he will be used in a very specific third down role. He will come in. I also don't believe he's going to practice. So if you expect to see him doing anything but like jogging during training camp,
and some nice jogging,
I don't think you're going to see it. They're going to try to keep him healthy. A lot of people don't know that his last year in Kansas City, he actually didn't practice at all. That he was just there, learn the system and then, work on the system and then did his thing. Just knew the, plan. And so I think that's what he's going to do. He's just going to go in and institute the game plan. But Ebukam is the guy that's supposed to make sure that that role is filled if D can't go. But I would love to see D and Ebukam and Bosa out there all together.
Oh, with Armstead?
Oh, well, with Bosa, with Bosa and Armstead, whoo, that's a lot of speed.
That's nasty.
It's pretty wrong.
That's not good. But yeah, no. At the end of the day, I think all of us are kind of shifting slowly more and more towards that. And Horst, if I'm speaking for you here, and I shouldn't be, you can throw something at me.
No, you're right.
I think the further we get away from the restructuring of D Ford's contract and the moves that were made in terms of the guys they brought in and signed, it's looking like D Ford is going to be on the field in some capacity this year. Just depends on what it is and the extent. But they're going to be very careful with him, and they should be. They should be extremely careful because when D Ford's on the field, if you missed our film breakdown and analysis of D Ford and some impact players on the defense, or just guys in general for the 49ers, we covered this. When he's on the field, man, he's special.
Special.
Yeah. For sure, special. Besides Trey Lance, what rookie are you guys most excited for? Horst.
Ooh.
Who you got?
Actually, between two, Hufanga and Trey Sermon.
I knew it was Hufanga. I just couldn't figure out who the other one was.
Trey Sermon.
I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay.
Hilliard is a close third.
You son of a gun!
Is that who you were going to go with, Alex? Hilliard?
Well, I had two.
Okay.
It's Hilliard and Diamador Lenore.
Well, now you have one.
Well, now I have just one. Diamador Lenore is the guy that I'm excited about, super excited about, just because, I'm interested to see what I know he's not going to have a big role right now, but I want to see how he develops. I want to see him in preseason. I want to see what he looks like because, man, I feel this guy could be a home run here in a few years. And I liked a lot of things he did at Oregon. He's a very smart player on defense, and I think if you get a guy like Richard Sherman in there with him, he'll learn a lot, and he's going to get a whole heck of a lot of help from a guy like K'Wan Williams because I think he's going to end up being in a slot role. So it's going to be interesting to see how he develops because if he develops quickly and he picks everything up and he's showing out and looking good in preseason, don't be surprised if K'Wan Williams is expendable after the 2021 season.
I think it's Aaron Banks. I think he's going to get in there and he's going to push that interior offensive line to another level. Brunskill is going to have to, push himself, and I think that Banks has already worked with Mike McGlinchey before. They're going to have a natural chemistry, and if they're able to make that work, a 330-pound right guard sounds very good to me, especially somebody that's as athletic as him for that size. I think he can make a huge impact. And then close second, Talanoa Hufanga, because I want to see what role they come up with for him. I want to see how creative D'Amico Ryans is and what they ultimately do with this guy. I think he's a similar player to Marcel Harris, but an upgrade because I think he has better natural instincts and is a sure tackler, not just a hard hitter, but a sure tackler.
True. Of the rookies, who do you think has the most impact this year?
Banks.
Yeah.
Banks?
Because there's probably the most likelihood that he plays because of injury, right? Or even if he wins the starting job.
I think would go Banks then Sermon.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
I'd say that's probably the best order you can put him in. Banks, Sermon, and then after that...
Probably Hufanga on special teams because he's going to make some plays.
Yeah, it's either going to be Hufanga or Ambry Thomas. One of the
two.
Umanga. I'm sorry. I love Umaga. Umaga was my favorite. Alex would love to go yogging with Christina Applegate. Who wouldn't?
You might want to shut up.
All right. You're probably right. You're probably right. Horst, good looking out, my guy. Good looking out. Look, if Mostert gets hurt, what speedy back would you guys like to see replace him?
Dalvin Cook.
I mean, I think they're thinking...
Oh, on the team.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good answer.
I mean, it's a great answer. Who wouldn't love to see Dalvin Cook?
It's got to be, as far as speed, Elijah Mitchell.
I would say it's going to be either Mitchell or maybe Jeff Wilson.
He's not fast.
I know he's not fast, but he looked fast.
Elijah Mitchell's the only other fast guy on the running back in the running back room.
Michael Hasty.
Huh?
About Michael Hasty.
He's not that fast.
He's old news, bro.
He is old news.
JaMychal Hasty is fast. Don't get me wrong, but those guys are 4.3 fast.
He's also tasty.
Tasty Hasty.
He is.
Yeah,
he's very tasty.
I've never tasted him.
Tommy Huxley thinks Sermon's getting 1,000 yards, and also, whoa, and just whoa.
No.
We need to get some kind of bet. Okay, what was the thing everyone was trying to bet on earlier?
Super Bowl and hair and Travis. I don't know, Super Bowl and hair.
We need to have you put up something because you always predict something random, and sometimes it comes true. Against Tommy Huxley's Sermon 1,000 yards. I'm not putting you on the spot to do it today.
Yeah. Sermon is not getting 1,000 yards. There's just no way with the...
I got it. Who's more likely to get closer to 1,000 yards, Trey Sermon or Jalen Hurd?
That's what I was thinking.
I'm not going to go with that either.
Okay.
Here's what. Is it total combined yards or receiving yards?
We'll go total yards. Who's more likely to get closer to 1,000 yards? Trey Sermon or Jalen Hurd?
All right, I might be willing to do this. Let's get closer to the season.
Tommy, you down?
Tommy, if you're down, let us know. We'll have to come up with something. A nice little fat juicy bet here.
I mean, I would be in as long as we're closer to the season because I want to see what's going on
Hurd's
with
health. Yeah.
Hurd. I mean, right now there's just so much unknown. But the reason I don't think Sermon is going to get 1,000 yards or come close to 1,000 yards is Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson Jr. are going to get a lot of carries.
They're going to get a majority of them.
A majority of them. So, I mean, I don't think that Trey Sermon this year is going to get 1,000 yards. I like Trey Sermon, but I think realistic number minus injuries is you're probably talking 400 to 500, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's fair. And
I think also Jalen Hurd's going to take some carries away from him. So
I think people aren't ready for that.
No, they're not.
People are not ready for that. I had that conversation with a couple other friends of mine who are fans of. One guy's the Bucks, and the other guy was a Chargers fan. And when I said that to them, they both were like, "But he plays receiver. Why would he be running the football?" And I was like, "Oh, y'all don't know." And you're like, "What?" I was like, "He was a 1,000-yard rusher at Tennessee. He's a freshman." Like
And
he's
a 1,000-yard receiver.
and then a
at
1,000-yard
Baylor.
receiver at Baylor. I was like, this guy is like, this is like the ideal positionless guy that Kyle Shanahan looks for. I was like, dude, don't be surprised. Like you see 5 wideout sets with this dude motioning into the backfield and then running the football like a running back because that's what he was. He can do it all. And they were like, well, but why would you like? Why? I was just like, I mean, why? I mean, you spread a defense out, you get them into nickel sets and nickel packages where you only have 1 or 2 linebackers
Go
on the
no
field with
huddle.
a bunch of corners and safeties.
Go no huddle, 2-minute offense. If he's on the field, you have a running back and a receiver.
Yep, you can do whatever you want.
It's almost impossible to stop and game plan for, and you don't have an athlete that can. Number one, you don't have somebody that can cover him. A linebacker can't cover him out in space.
I think Tommy is in for this bet because he just said Jalen Hurd won't make it to the regular season.
We'll
so
see.
if he makes it to the regular season, this is probably going down. Tommy.
Less Dan Patrick type bets and more Burt Kreischer type bets.
I don't even know what that means.
I'll show you.
You want Burt Kreischer type this guy?
Him and Tom Segura.
This guy, no chowder showers, no chowder showers.
I don't know what that is, but it
You
sounds
don't.
disgusting.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know what any of this means.
Just no. Tommy says, yeah, I agree, though. We have too much talent in the backfield, but I think he thinks Sermon could be an Eddie George 2.0. Only time will tell.
Eddie George was like 6'4".
I'm aware he was big.
He was huge, and they gave it to him like 28 times a game.
Yeah, I think your comparison with Eddie George is more Derrick Henry.
But I think what he's
Agreed.
saying. I
But
think
Henry's a little bit faster.
Well, I mean, does he think that?
I think he means in terms of what he. I think Tommy thinks he's going to get to a point in his career where he can handle volume.
He thinks he's going to be a bell cow and carry the ball in this day and age. You think he's going to be a guy that carries it 25 plus times?
There's only one guy in the league
It's true.
that does that.
Well, and that's not what over these since Kyle's been with San Francisco. That's not something they've done. It's not a one running back system.
No, they run multiple. And you're going to get 8. The most you're going to see from a running back is about 18 carries, 19 carries.
I'm not saying Sermon couldn't be a 20 carry guy. I don't know. I don't see it.
I don't know why, Gary, but apparently dumping clam chowder over losers' heads is that was a no-no for YouTube because it made me approve the comment. So
was it what color clam chowder?
It's probably the
was it the white or the
probably
red?
the white. Probably
I
white
get
clam
it.
chowder.
Horse gets it.
Is
That's
it
gross.
the red or the white?
I can never remember that.
The white?
You guys freaking kill me. Chat.
It's like we have one brain sometimes.
Sometimes it
true.
really is. It's actually kind of scary, especially when you guys get rolling on backup quarterbacks.
Steve
So just-
Bartkowski.
We're not doing this right now.
We might.
No, it's not right now. It's
No,
not the
we're
time
not
for that.
doing it
It's
right
not the
now.
time for that. Chat.
We might. Mike Tomczak.
We're getting ready to wrap this thing up. Any last minute questions you have, we'll take 4 to 5 more. So let us have it. Let us know. And for anyone out there that is new, that hasn't been here before, if you haven't watched one of our live streams before, you're enjoying yourself, hit that like button right now. Hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. That way you get notified every time one of our videos goes live. We got content coming out daily, 11 a.m. videos, Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m., Friday live streams at 6:30. You don't want to miss any of this. We got a special live stream for you next week. That's right, next week, schedule breakdown episode, or live stream, excuse me. You're not going to want to miss that. That's going to be a whole heck of a lot of fun talking about what the 49ers are doing, who they're facing, when they're facing them, and highlighting the key matchups and the key games for the 2021 season, the games for all 49ers fans to get hyped over, and who knows, maybe we're going to find a game that we all want to go to if they lift restrictions.
Yeah, if they lift restrictions.
That's the key word.
I'm not getting my hopes up here in Cali land that we're going to be able to go to games.
No.
But it will be exciting because we're going to see when they're playing, how many Thursday games, how many primetime games, Mondays and Sundays. I know that's how I always set my schedule for the fall. I need to know when these games are going to be. You should see my work calendar. It's filled with all football games because that's what I do and that's what I care about. And so that's what I'm most excited for. So that live stream is going to be a lot of fun because we're going to start being able to kind of pinpoint how the 49ers season is going to go, what the long trips are and all that, so we can get a good idea of how many wins are coming because that's really exciting.
You make car parts for the American working man.
That's what I am. That's what
I care about. Would I place money that Mike McGlinchey will be close to playing as an All-Pro? I think Mike McGlinchey is a top 10 right tackle when he's at his peak. But I don't think he's an all-pro player. He's an all-pro run blocker.
That's the thing, right?
But his pass pro, I don't think we'll ever get to that.
He'd have to take a drastic step as a pass protector in order to be all-pro. He is easily an all-pro run blocker. I would be willing to make the argument that he might be one of the best run blocking tackles in the game. I think him and Trent Williams both can lay stake to that argument.
Right.
Especially with their ability to get to second level and the things they can do once they get there. That being said, pass blocking leaves a lot to desire. You want more from Mike McGlinchey. And as you saw, if you watched our breakdown on Mike McGlinchey or film breakdown analysis video, at times it's not pretty. And he always has at least one play a game where he gets put on his back.
Get ready for the reemergence of Mike McGlinchey.
Yeah, I think he's going to be back.
Agreed.
I think he's going back to the 2019 form and probably a little bit better. Alex Mack is going to help tremendously. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to help tremendously. They're going to get the offense in the right sets. They're going to make sure the blocking is taken care of. They're going to, move and slide protection where it needs to go, not leave him out on islands all the time. The run game will get going because it's a better offensive line. If the run game gets going, you'll see less traditional sets where they drop back, and you will see a lot of times where he can be more successful. He's not a great guy in traditional sets, kick sliding and making blocks that way, but if you're slide protecting, play action, he's very successful. So I look for them to be more successful this year, especially McGlinchey. I think he's going to have a bounce back year, and I think he's putting in the work to get stronger, and that was a big area of concern last year, and I think he's going to take care of it.
Caleb, I agree.
Yeah, agreed as well there, good sir. Shout out to the new subscriber today, by the way. Right. When we started the stream, we were at 787, so picked up one new one. We appreciate that support. Chat, we'll take 2 or 3 more. Come on, what you got? What you got for us? You got to have something.
Never thought we'd have to beg.
I know. We want to hear from you.
JL, might go to the Arizona game. That'd be fun.
That would be a lot of fun, actually. That would be.
Well, I still haven't met a Cardinals fan, so.
I know one, but I mean that's.
I don't think I know one.
And even that person's moving out of Arizona.
Luke said he lives in Arizona and he doesn't know any.
Big yikes!
Poor Think Arizona about Cardinals that. Fans.
So then how does the Arizona sports guy on YouTube? How does he have so many subs? If there's no Arizona Cardinals fan, I don't know because he's in Arizona.
Yeah, I'm sure they have fans. They're just
we probably should probably talk to him.
What's it called? Red Wave or Red
Sea?
Red Sea.
The Red Sea.
Interesting.
Red Wave is Fresno State.
Okay.
Oh, that is?
Generally.
Is it really?
Yeah, they're like fans are referred to as the Red Wave.
Red
Sea.
I know
that.
Yeah, Red Wave to go with Bulldogs. Interesting.
Makes sense.
Red Sea to go with Cardinals. Interesting.
Yes, someone got the Tommy Boy reference.
Yes.
I love it.
Tommy Huxley knows his movies.
He does. Oh, that's right. K9 Kick said rank NFC West, and someone else said that. Right. Someone said that earlier, how we ranked them. We missed that.
Niners are 1, everyone else is
4. Look, if we're going based on roster and everything goes, San Francisco's 1, in my opinion. After that, it is a little bit of a battle. I would say I would lean more towards the Rams at 2. Seattle at 3, Arizona at 4, and that's only because I'm not willing to completely discount Seattle with Russell Wilson yet.
Niners, Arizona, LA, Seattle.
Niners, Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks.
He did it, boys and girls.
So did I.
He did it.
He put Seahawks last.
You did put Seahawks last. Also, yep. My bad. I didn't pull the trigger. I'm the pansy.
I was ready. I was ready for it.
JLE gets it too. That's great.
That's great.
Under power lines.
JLE says I would hit up a Niners versus Texans or Donkeys game. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, I don't know if the Niners play the Texans. I don't think they do this year.
I don't know if they do this year. We'll have to find out.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
The schedule release is going to be interesting for sure indeed. Chat, again, like always, we appreciate the support. We appreciate everything that you guys help and do for this channel, because at the end of the day, this channel is only as successful as you allow it to be. You tune in, you view, you like, you share, you sub. We appreciate all that support. You've been helping this channel grow since day one, and we're going to hopefully keep growing, expand this audience, get it bigger, have bigger and better conversations. Oh my word, Tommy Huxley.
He said, "Are we worried about the lambs with Strat turd?"
Tommy, we're trying to be polite.
I don't worry about them because they're not going to be able to stop the 49ers run game.
Yeah, I don't know how anyone in the NFC West is going to be able to stop the run game.
And I'm not sure their offensive line is good enough to stop our defensive line.
No, I agree. Well, chat, it's been a lot of fun.
All right, guys.
It has been a lot of fun. Before we get more Tommy Huxley one-line zinger bombs out here and we laugh ourselves into oblivion, we appreciate it.
Josh Rosen.
We don't have time for that.
No, we don't.
We don't have time for no Rosen.
No.
Rosen, I'm not even sure we're going to catch you on the next one because we ain't got no time for that. But you guys, you know what time it is. Let's chalk another one up. See you all on Wednesday.
Wednesday,
Make
baby.
sure you're here, 5 o'clock.
Wednesday.
From the alley-oops at Kezar to the glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back.